Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Tuesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, here on this Tuesday? More Pittsburgh sports news to talk about surrounding all three of Pittsburgh's professional sports teams. Here in a moment, like normal, we usually start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are the big selling, big ticket item here on the channel. And for the first time in forever, one of the more compelling times in Steelers history, their ongoing search for their next head coach. What is the latest in their search for that head coach, including could there be a new favorite, according to one top NFL insider, who that favorite is? How closely tied is he to the city of Pittsburgh, sort of hinting at who it is. We will talk about as well. So the Steelers, new head coach candidate, quickly rising up the ranks. Another, according to one report, is falling. Who that is as well. We will talk about all the latest surrounding the Steelers and who their new on-field boss could be come a few months from now. Hopefully the search doesn't take that long. Hopefully it's just a few weeks from now. After that, we'll get into the Pittsburgh Penguins. They have a lot going on right now. Last night, we were live for most of their game against the Seattle Kraken, how they fared out in that game, as well as they making a trade today for a defenseman. Now, we all go, why did they make a trade for a defenseman? Turns out they could be going through some attrition on the blue line here in some pretty heavily important and can't lose these guys attrition on the blue line as well. So we'll talk about that. Then we'll wrap up with some extra Pittsburgh sports news, a little bit on the Pirates, a little bit more on the Penguins, and a little bit on some other stuff surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. But before we get into everything here this evening, first off, want to start off the show like normal saying, if you are new here, welcome to the Steel City Sports Report. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the channel. Again, also would appreciate it if you like, share this live stream, and in the comments section, any thoughts, questions, opinions that you may have on anything related to Pittsburgh sports, by all means, put those in there. I can pop those comments up on screen just like this at a moment's notice, and we can interact that way. Also, if you would go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR, wrong thing here, at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and come back a little bit later on tonight for a new edition of SCSR60. I would love if you do that as well. All right, now that customary stuff is out of the way, like I said, let's get into the newest story that is sweeping Pittsburgh sports right now, that being the Black and Gold search for their next head coach. And today, ladies and gentlemen, according to one top NFL insider, that being Tom Pelissero of NFL Network, could a new favorite be now on the table for the Steelers? You're going to see his big Yinzer face pop up on screen right now. The latest on the Steelers head coaching search. We now know of the next three in-person interviews that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have for their head coaching vacancy today. Have not heard much about what could have possibly went on in this interview. We do not know. We probably won't get the details on what exactly went down today, but we do know that today, Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores, he was in Pittsburgh today for a head coaching interview. What went down in that meeting, we do not know, but according to one NFL insider, I believe Diana Rossini out there, this Brian Flores reunion with the Steelers does not feel likely, at least in her eyes and her point of view. She says, I don't know. I don't think so. I lean towards no, but I could also see Brian Flores going in there and just pointing to what he's been able to do with the Vikings defense and use that as his main selling point. So Flores, who coming into this many thought was going to be a top candidate with the likes of Chris Shula and Nate Scheelhaase, one of the more critically acclaimed NFL insiders out there. Diana Rossini, she throwing a little bit of cold water on Flores here today. I believe on top of that, Adam Schefter said that with Flores, his head coaching market starting to dwindle a little bit, he could be eyeing a return to the Vikings. Minnesota has been pushing to bring Flores back, and if he doesn't land a head coaching job, would have a good chance at retaining him. So Flores, he is starting to slide down the board. Coming up the board, though, you're seeing him on your screen right now, Mike McCarthy, former Green Bay Packers head coach, beat the Steelers in Super Bowl 45 with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Also, former Dallas Cowboys head coach as well, McCarthy. He will interview tomorrow with the Steelers in person, and he, according to Tom Pelissero of NFL Network, could be quickly rising up the ranks and could be viewed as a favorite, at least in the Steelers' eyes. Pelissero dropping this morning that McCarthy, he was a candidate for the Tennessee Titans head coaching job before the Titans filled that last night with Robert Saleh. Turns out McCarthy withdrew himself from the running Monday morning for the Titans head coaching gig. Maybe he saw the writing on the wall that they were going Saleh's direction or not, but nonetheless, Pelissero here saying that McCarthy withdrew Monday and turned down other inquiries. So he didn't just turn down the Titans job. Pelissero finishing up here saying that McCarthy is focused on Pittsburgh and he is considered a strong candidate. So McCarthy, pretty much it's Pittsburgh or bust for him right now in his search for a new head coaching job. Interesting there. There are still tons of availabilities out there, including a very lucrative and highly intriguing one up there in Buffalo with the Buffalo Bills. But McCarthy turning down all other inquiries right now. Could he change his mind? We shall see. But right now, focusing one team at a time, he is all in on the Pittsburgh Steelers, is Mike McCarthy. There's another interview out there as well that the Steelers are going to have in person. That comes up on Friday. That is Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver. This will be his second interview with the Steelers. He interviewed virtually last week, but Weaver, he will be in the building Friday, but not before Mike McCarthy, who could be the new favorite, at least according to Tom Pelissero, for the Pittsburgh Steelers head coaching gig. He interviews tomorrow. Honestly, want to talk about McCarthy a little bit here. I am very, very hot and cold on the idea of McCarthy being the next Steelers head coach. He does have a few things going for him. I mean, does have that relationship with Aaron Rodgers. We talked about it yesterday, where tons of Pittsburgh Steelers players in their exit interviews wanted Rodgers to return in 2026. Now, Mike Tomlin left, that pretty much slammed the door shut on Rodgers returning because he loved and only came to Pittsburgh because of Tomlin. But you bring in an ex-head coach of Rodgers, a guy who people speculate, does he have a good relationship or not? Time heals all wounds. Maybe they say, hey, let's get one last shot of it here in Pittsburgh. That could be an intriguing component of why the Steelers are looking at McCarthy. Maybe they see, hey, we get McCarthy, we get a better shot of bringing Rodgers back here in 2026. That could be at the top of their priority, getting Rodgers back here, just because of the quarterback market, both in free agency and the draft that'll be out there this offseason. Also, McCarthy, local guy, we've talked about that before, grew up in Pittsburgh, Yinzer, so he has that tie there. Fans, I'm sure, naturally are going to be drawn to McCarthy. It's the whole he's one of us type of thing that'll always be a big hitter with at least a good portion of the fan base. And the last thing that I think would really intrigue the Steelers towards McCarthy, would really draw them towards him. He, though an offensive mind, and a proven one at that, I'll give him credit, is a proven offensive-minded head coach in the NFL. Just had Steelers owner Art Rooney II a few days ago in his press conference last week say that he doesn't want to waste a life. He doesn't want to waste a year of his life rebuilding. He always covets being in contention, stuff like that. Never wants to see his team be near the bottom with the dregs of the league, even though there's an argument they could be there with how often they fail in the playoffs. But you want to get the closest thing out there that's readily available for you to Mike Tomlin. Even though he's an offensive mind, Mike McCarthy, he is pretty much a Mike Tomlin type that's out there. Always overachieves most seasons. I mean, he does bring more of a possibility of, completely falling out and having a 5-12 season than Tomlin ever had. But McCarthy, he is a guy that has always been near the top of his division. He's always a guy that more often than not makes playoffs. I believe of the however many seasons he spent in Green Bay and Dallas, he went to the postseason 12 of those years. Doesn't, have, I think he has a tiny bit of a better track record than Tomlin did in playoffs, but not by much. So, I mean, that's really, I think, what draws the Steelers is that they see a guy like McCarthy, local guy, beat them in Super Bowl 45. It's another weird thing with the Steelers. I'm not sure if this was just a Mike Tomlin thing or if it was so much an Art Rooney thing. Steelers, they always like guys that were able to beat them. They, I guess, embody the mindset, okay, if you can't beat them, bring them in, have them join you, sort of thing. But above all, McCarthy, not a coach that is going to lose year after year. And I think that really, really scratches the itch of Art Rooney II. So maybe in Rooney's mind, McCarthy is at the top of his list right now. I'm hoping Omar Khan is thinking differently, but that's where we stand right now. McCarthy, according to Pelissero, becoming a new favorite here for the Steelers, turning down all other interests from the teams, focusing on the Pittsburgh job right now. We'll see if he's able to woo away Omar Khan and Art Rooney II here in his interview coming up tomorrow. I'm sure that will be heavily talked about between now and then. Some other things going on with the Steelers head coaching search. We mentioned McCarthy as the favorite. Flores, he is dropping out. Not, dropping out of the race here, but at least according to Diana Rossini, he is not amongst one of the favorites. Anthony Weaver, I mean, he's coming in here on Friday. He's probably a guy we know little about. We do know he is a charismatic leader of men, but what type of, offense and defensive pedigree he's bringing in, that is up for debate. Right now, in my mind, even though Pelissero is saying McCarthy is a favorite, I still think it is Chris Shula and Nate Scheelhaase first and foremost. The Steelers, hopefully this McCarthy interest is just in the meantime while they're still coaching in the playoffs, going for the Super Bowl with the LA Rams. We might as well take a deep dive into McCarthy here before we make a decision. I'm hoping right now that it is still Chris Shula all the way, and then the Steelers, I believe, just like what fans are hoping for. Their hope is to add in Nate Scheelhaase if he does not get a head coaching gig, bring him along as offensive coordinator with Chris Shula. But we shall see. Also, guys like Ejiro Evero, who the Steelers apparently had a in-person or a virtual interview. Not much on him as well. Same thing with Clay Kubiak, other than stuff we mentioned yesterday. So that's the latest in the Steelers head coaching gig. McCarthy, he is near a favorite right now, according to Pelissero. Mentioned a ton of stuff that he has done and accomplished that the Steelers would be very interested in. I'm still hoping and holding out for a Shula or a Shieldhouse, maybe even a Flores. Just doesn't feel like right now this team is with an aging defense and a offense that has no quarterback for the time being. Just still doesn't feel right to bring in a retread head coach like McCarthy. Even though you love your Yinzer guys, hometown guy, he's going to be beloved by the true diehard Yinzer portion of the fan base. I just don't think it's time. Maybe right coach eventually, but not the right time right now. Steelers need to get younger. That includes with the coaching staff bringing in a 62-year-old Mike McCarthy does not tickle my fancy right now. Real quick, while we're talking about coaches, do want to give an update on the old coaching staff. Mike Tomlin gone, his coaches and his entire coaching staff, they were pretty much told, hey, start seeking employment elsewhere. The first now Mike Tomlin coaching staff member has found a new home. The first of those, and unfortunately it was a big one. Special teams coordinator Danny Smith, after a virtual interview with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week, he is signing with the Buccaneers to be their special teams coordinator. A lateral move for Danny Smith. Goes down there to Flacco country. Please, Buccaneers, I swear to God, if you do not take care of our beloved Danny Smith, 72-year-old gum-chewing legend, pretty much like the quickly becoming like the cool grandpa of Steelers Nation. You do not take care of him, we're going to have issues. So good luck, best of luck to Danny Smith. Unfortunately, will not be a member of the new Steelers coaching staff. His run in Pittsburgh ends at 13 years. So that sucks, but I mean, hey, that's the turnover that comes with getting a new coaching staff here for the Steelers, which it desperately needed in most spots. I guess we're going to have to live with the give and take of that. You needed a new head coach and new coordinators, bad offensively and defensively. Unfortunately, just a part that comes along with it. You're going to lose your beloved special teams coordinator, the best of the bunch. That is unfortunate. Excuse me. That's unfortunate, but best of luck to Danny Smith. Want to get into your comments now. You guys flooding the comment section now on your way in. Steelers and their ongoing head coaching search. What are your guys' thoughts? Who do you want for Steelers head coach? What do you think of Mike McCarthy? Not just being a courtesy interview. He is a legit candidate for the Steelers. Get your thoughts on that in the comment section as well. We start off the night here in the comment section with Rands87. Welcome back, Rands. A lot of fans upset over this choice, but I'm for any change at this point, and he will still have a mess to sort out here. Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I am pretty skeptical about him doing, being able to sort through this mess and have the team in a better spot on the way on the other side of sorting through the mess right now. The defense only getting older, the offense not having a leader at the quarterback position right now because who knows what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. I do agree with the part of your comment here. It says you're up for any change. Fans are going to be upset. I'm in the boat right now where fans, Steelers fans, we for so long have been on the, Tomlin's got to go. We need fresh blood in here. Something needs to change. And when change comes, we can't be the organization that bitches about it from the very, first moment we get that notification that the Steelers hired a new head coach. Whoever the new head coach is, we might have a tiny bit of worries in real times, like, all right, how's he going to fare in this spot? But automatically saying, this is a bad hire, get him out of here. This is not the guy that we wanted. We can't be doing that. We wanted change with Tomlin. Tomlin ends up stepping down. Now change is finally going to happen. Cannot be bitching about it incoherently right off the bat like that. So McCarthy, like I said, if he ends up being the guy, there are going to be quite a bit of things that I think he'll bring to this team that is good. He will be a offensive minded head coach, which the Steelers haven't been able to say that in quite literally forever. And he'll bring, I think more of a offensive focus to the team, and we'll see some success on that side of the ball that we have not seen consistently in a while. But will parts of the team, struggle in comparison? I'm sure, but we will cross this bridge of, strengths and weaknesses of the head coach when we get there. Some other comments in here. Al, Kenneth Miller in here. Flacco, glad to have you guys on in here. It's possible they really can't get anyone else. Maybe. I mean, could it be possible that the other coaches out there are, seeing the Steelers as a not attractive spot? I could see that. I mean, they could look just like what I said. All right, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, my two big guns on defense, they're only getting older. Their times here are limited. Who do I have at quarterback right now? Right now, my under contract quarterback room consists of Mason Rudolph and Will Howard. That's not too attractive. So maybe the coaches out there, the coaching candidates, they don't view the Steelers as a really, really attractive job. I do think it's attractive than some others out there, like the Arizona Cardinals and stuff like that. But is it near the top of the list above the Ravens and Bills? No. Also, the Steelers and their interest with McCarthy. Who's to say that they had these virtual interviews with Jesse Minter and Chris Shula and Nate Scheelhaus, and let's just say, all right, we like these guys, but do we love them? I wouldn't say that. So maybe they get McCarthy in here, a guy who's very experienced around the league, brings the offensive mindset that they haven't hired before. Maybe they see that and they put that near the top of their list. Like, all right, we like this guy over here a ton. We'll see what comes of these younger guys, but at least we'll have a homegrown, Pittsburgh guy who knows Pittsburgh and has had success in the league guy in our back pocket. Maybe that's a case as well. Looking at some other comments here, Flacco says this is getting ugly. Won't say it's getting ugly quite yet. I mean, we are still just getting to the first batch of in-person interviews here. Maybe now we start to see guys elevate themselves above the rest of the candidates here, but I won't say it's getting ugly quite yet. It'll maybe get ugly once we see guys that the Steelers have hardcore interest in go off the board, which you can't say that yet. I mean, the Harbaugh and Stefanski, two guys who the Steelers were never going to interview, they found new homes, took up two jobs, got those off the market. Jeff Hafley, I guess, is the lone guy you could say right now the Steelers had some interest in that went elsewhere. And I think we knew from the get-go Hafley wasn't going to be a guy that the Steelers were going to aggressively pursue. He goes down with a familiar GM down in Miami. There's another spot off the board. Of course, the Bills job opened up, yesterday? But another job just came off the board that you could argue was more attractive than the Steelers. And it was a coach that the Steelers didn't have any interest in, Robert Saleh. He goes from DC out in San Francisco to head coach of the Titans. And the reason why the Titans could have been an intriguing spot, because they just had the first overall pick, have Cam Ward, some young pieces and draft picks to play with as well. So right now, I think it's fair to say that all job openings that have been filled right now are guys that the Steelers didn't really take into serious consideration or didn't have any interest in it all for their head coaching vacancy. So is it ugly? Yeah, I'm not going to put there. Pretty much every guy that the Steelers have been, they're still there. So not getting ugly quite yet. Kenneth Miller in here. If we get McCarthy, Steelers are not even trying to win. I actually say the opposite there, Kenneth. I mean, Art Rooney II, again, in his press conference, he hates rebuilding, literally said he hates the word rebuild, doesn't want to waste a, 1 year of his life rebuilding. Now tell me if he were to hire a former Super Bowl winning coach who's had success for years in the league, is that guy or a 9-year-old Chris Shula who's going to get his first head coaching gig? Which of those two candidates says that the Steelers are not going to try to win this year? I think I give more short-term success predictions for McCarthy than I do Shula. Long-term, though, that's a probably easy one. You could probably think Shula would have more of a long-term success approach here, but McCarthy, he'd be a win now hire, in my opinion. Need a young guy. Do agree with that, though, Kenneth. Need a young guy, an up-and-coming coach, not a 62-year-old, out of touch with today's NFL. Out of touch. I mean, yeah, had a rocky ending with the Dallas Cowboys, but then again, that's just a circus down there most years with Jerry Jones. Out of touch. I mean, he's took a year off, kind of like a Sean Payton and stuff like that. And look, Sean Payton comes back a year away from football, doing, TV work. I think McCarthy's done a little bit of that with the Pat McAfee show. Now, Sean Payton, he is one win away from the Super Bowl. Now, granted, he's got Jarrett Stidham because Bo Nix is injured, but hey, one win away from the Super Bowl, as is. Who's to say that, with an insane amount of luck because of the Steelers roster, who's to say McCarthy can't be Sean Payton 2.0 right here? Follow that path back to prominence as an NFL head coach. Don't like anyone out there readily available so far. You don't like a Chris Shula or a Nate Scheelhaas, Jesse Minter, Mike McCarthy, Brian Flores? None of those guys interest you there, Flacco? Some more comments here from Concepts. What is going on, Concepts? Glad to have you. Some fans wanted Cowher back. That's the difference. Yeah. Those are the more delusional, relive and live off past glory Steelers fans out there. Cowher not coming back to coaching, never wants to come back to coaching. So, yeah, not gonna see Cowher there. Concepts also saying don't trust the media. Well, I mean, do I trust what Pelissero is saying that McCarthy's a favorite? I'll believe it when I see other reporters start to grasp on to that narrative. But I mean, it's the NFL offseason. You're gonna grab on to anything said about the Steelers head coaching gig that you can get a hold of right now. Concepts here, same mindset as me. Chris Shula is the guy at work in LA, is very impressive. Inside sources say Steelers and Shula have behind the scenes agreement in place already. I would love if that's a reality there. Again, there's still some people giving criticisms about Shula, like, oh, he's babied under the Mike McVay coaching tree here. Well, I mean, has the McVay coaching tree really produced any bad fruit? There's only rare cases of that. And Shula, I mean, he grew up in that McVay, coaching staff, has been there for 8 years out there with the Rams organization. But this defense, it's his baby, and he is running every single aspect of it away from McVay. So he does have that independence in that coaching staff that doesn't show that he is just a lackey or a errand boy for McVay. He's legitimately running that defense out there with a purpose. He's not just a coffee guy out there. Actually, I can't stand McCarthy, to be honest, says Flacco. Why? It's the way he talks, the way he dresses, his coaching success. Let me know what's up with that, Flacco. Al here again. All the other candidates may be looking to go to other teams. I'm sure all candidates right now are, in a freezing pattern. These guys that are being interviewed by like a whole bunch of other teams. I'm sure now it's going to be even a little bit of a longer wait for some of these guys because they want to see how realistic their chances of getting the job up in Buffalo. I'm sure that's the most lucrative job right now because you got Josh Allen as your quarterback. Bills and Ravens are in a win now mode. That lease will be very short, in my opinion, regardless of McDermott and Harbaugh's tenures. I could see that. Bills and Ravens, they're in, I'm sure, an argument with themselves. Has our window passed? Are we going to try to pry it open? They're probably going to go with that, 2-3 year plan. Coach, try to win with Allen and Jackson. If it works, then hey, keep the coach and keep things going. If it doesn't work, then you might be looking at a full scale blow up in Baltimore and Buffalo. What is going on, Lightning Rod? Glad to have you back here. You guys filling up the comment section. Another comment here from Lightning Rod. Steelers should hire a Russian war general as their next head coach. Definitely will bring some old Pittsburgh Steeler-like intensity. I mean, will they be disciplined and, cerebral? I'm sure that'll be the case, but will it work? I mean, what sort of Russian war general are you thinking of there, Lightning Rod? Rams at Seattle. Wow, what a game. That is going to be a good game. And just like last weekend against the Bears, I'm sure all of us will tune in and watch the passing attack and defense of the Rams with much intent, seeing what Shula and Shieldhouse offer up in big games. What about Caitlin Clark as the new head coach? I think she's got an injury to worry about right now. Which, how about Indiana last night? Sure, we all of us in here, whether it was just briefly or the whole way through, watched the college national championship last night. Indiana winning that, completing the prophecy where you had all the other major stars across Indiana get hurt. Clark, Tyrese Halliburton, Daniel Jones, all of those injuries being a sacrifice for the Indiana Hoosiers to win the national championship, and they did it. It was a good game. Please, Steelers, tell me you are going to stay away from Carson Beck in the NFL draft. Do not want him on my team whatsoever. Looking at some other comments you guys got going on here. Alan the Proud, any candidate with a brain knows that this team needs a complete rebuild, and that may not be that appealing. I mean, yeah, that's one thing that may not be appealing. I mean, there is an argument, though, that the Steelers would not be that far away, though. I mean, they picked a good year, the Steelers did, to, not have a super high draft pick for quarterback, because you got Fernando Mendoza going 1-1, and then beyond that, just a complete desert with random, tiny puddles of water for the quarterback class. The Steelers, if they are going to have a bad year, I'd much rather them have a bad year this upcoming season, and then boom, you get a high draft pick in a quarterback-rich class, and then you're one right pick away from being back in it as a contending team. Maybe that's their selling point. That's a selling point as well. The head coach, whoever that would be, the candidates could see that and say, all right, might be rough a first year, but the Steelers, they are pretty lenient when it comes to head coaches here. They do keep you on for a while. You have a rough year, learn what you learn about the team, and then get your quarterback and you're off and running. That might be a selling point right there. You may be bad at the beginning, but a year makes a difference. You get the right quarterback. Both suggestions should be forwarded to Omar and Rooney ASAP, talking about those Russian war general and Caitlin Clark. I mean, anything and everything. I mean, I wish this was the case as well, Flacco. I mean, you got to start saying, hey, take a look at this guy, because I'm surprised they haven't taken a look at this guy as well. Clint Kubiak and LaFleur. I'm not sure what LaFleur you're talking about. If you're talking about the head coach, LaFleur up in Green Bay, he's staying there. I know there's another LaFleur out there. Not sure he's getting much looks for head coach, but Clint Kubiak, I have no idea why they didn't look at him. See in here, concepts here. Called it. Texans spanked and disgraced by disgracing the terrible towel. CJ suffered from the mascot being cocky. Yeah, I mean, When are they going to learn? When are teams going to learn? Do not disrespect the terrible towel. It does not end well. And for some reason, the Texans mascots thought ripping one and posting that was going to boast well. Myron Cope, he is a man that does not forget, and he will haunt you. And Cope smiling down as CJ Stroud, I'm pretty sure right this second, just threw another interception in Cancun. My nephew calls Fandango Mendoza. That's hilarious, their concepts. Lightning here. Shula or Kubiak would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, would love to get Shula or Kubiak. Shula, I mean, there's a thing about Steelers and them hiring young defensive minds. Shula fits that bill right now to a T. Will they go with the obvious, historically never fails pick, or will they dare to venture outside that thinking box and go with an offensive guy? We shall see. Do they want to stay and play it safe with a type of head coach they've always hired, or do they want to maybe get with the times a little bit and go with an offensive head coach? We'll have to wait and see. A couple more comments here before we move on here this evening. 14 of you in here right now. Please hit that subscribe button on the way in. The amount of coaching firings this year makes it more difficult to get someone to bite. Normally, there isn't this many opportunities. Yeah, 10 total new head coaches will be seen in the 2026 season. And all the long-time head coaches are now out the door. I think now what Reed, maybe Nick Sirianni as the longest tenured head coaches in the NFL, because Harbaugh, Tomlin, McDermott, those long-term guys, all gone in one clean sweep in one offseason. So, yeah, this is a pretty difficult head coaching search to navigate through, just because there is so much open. And I'm sure even the candidates' heads are spinning like, oh, my God, all these options here. How do I know which place to settle down on? I'm sure it's a very overwhelming experience for a lot of people out there. Concepts, I want Nick Saban. J.K. Shula is the guy, hopefully. Getting Nick Saban, that is just as likely as getting Bill Cowher. Talking about two legendary head coaches. Saban, in his case, the most legendary college head coach of all time. Both of whom are now doing TV, and they love every aspect of it and don't need the pressures or challenges of coaching. They can just say what they say into a camera, call it a day right there. Would say if we're going with unrealistic head coaching candidates, I would absolutely go nuts and do crazy things to have Curt Cignetti be the Steelers head coach, but that's another hypothetical for another day. Got Where the Rivs in here. Welcome. Shula all the way, fresh start, no McCarthy, no Rodgers. Kind of fitting that narrative right now. I would say myself, we are, because Steelers, they need a fresh start. If it comes with more than just the coaching staff getting completely overhauled this offseason, then so be it. I mean, 10 years pushing where you've either gone 9-8, missed the playoffs, had a pick in the late, teens, early adulthood area of the first round, or you made the first round of the playoffs, the wild card, and got blown out, and you're picking in the 20s, early 20s. 10 years of that has driven us nuts, and any sort of changes, massive, micro, they will be accepted, because we just need something new here to change. So, Shula, he comes in here, he decides to clean house. I'm cool with it. No McCarthy, no Rodgers. McCarthy, I mean, they end up hiring him. I'll understand their mindset with it. I may not, have confidence in it long term, but I mean, it'll still be something new, so you can't complain about it. No Rodgers. Just, are you going to catch lightning in the bottle as much as you did with Rodgers? Rodgers, I think, fairly exceeded all of our expectations for what a 42-year-old quarterback could do last year. And is he going to be, a fraction of what he was? I have my doubts now. Looked really old and really banged up in that Texans game. So I'm wavering on Rodgers too. bad as McCarthy sounds, he may be the best option right now. Best out of, are you a proven NFL coach? Yeah, but best long-term, I have my serious doubts. Maybe short-term, he's like Tomlin and overachieves with the roster that'll be given to him. But, I mean, in some cases, yeah, he's the best option. In others, probably not. Lucky left in here. Welcome, Lucky. Too much emphasis is being put on an offensive or defensive head coach. We need a head coach that can evaluate other coaches as coordinators and position coaches, much as player talent and schematics. Agree with that. I mean, that's another component that comes into this head coaching search. Mike Tomlin, for as long as he's here, not a single branch of his coaching tree. That is just a stump that for 19 years sat there without a single leaf or branch sprouted, and it ended that way. McCarthy, you bring him in here. I mean, he's got his offenses. He's going to be able to hire the right defensive coordinator. I wonder, the guy that I have the most confidence in hiring competent and good coordinators would be one of the two LA guys, Scheelhaus or Shula, because when you hire one of those two, they're going to bring bits and pieces of the Rams coaching staff with them. The ideal thing here, get Shula, bring in Scheelhaus as OC, and then for defensive coordinator, you might want to go with a more experienced DC back there. That could be Raheem Morris. He's been in the Rams system before. It could be one of the position coaches out with the Rams right now. But yeah, definitely hiring a head coach that will be able to bring in the right coordinators and be sure that when a coordinator leaves, you have a replacement ready to go, and a guy that's not going to have any sort of dip or decline or be a downgrade in that on that side of the ball. So very very true and appropriate comment there from you, Lucky Left. Also, who's to say McCarthy can't be a coordinator? Could he be an OC? Who knows? That's another question too. Even though he's interviewing for the head coaching gig, who's to say that if the Steelers don't hire Shula or something like that, if they hire their head coach and they say, man, I could really use a veteran coach that knows, how to handle older guys on the team. Maybe they bring in a McCarthy and he becomes the OC, something like that. I think Rodgers played great last year outside of LA, Buffalo, Browns, and Texans game. Yeah, but in those games, he looked old and looked like he was getting the snot beat out of him in those games. The ugly is really, really ugly. The good, better than what we've seen over the last, half a decade. Is it the best? Yeah, but could it be better? Yeah. Just, I think the downside of Rodgers, the ugly is ugly. The really ugly outweighs the good, in my opinion. See here, some other comments. Fine with it because A-Rod actually made this offense better last year. Yeah, but like I said, I love A-Rod, and I love that he made the offense look as competent as we've seen it since 7. But how often is that going to come out another year older for him? I have my doubts. DK wasn't really helping him with drops. Yeah, I mean, that's another problem that we'll address a different time. Metcalf and his drops and how he's going to fit into a new offense. We'll get into that another time. 12 of you still in here right now talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers and their search for a new head coach. We will probably get back into Steelers talk here in a minute. Do want to switch up gears, though, for a minute. We got some other things to talk about here tonight. Another big story going on in Pittsburgh sports right now. The Pittsburgh Penguins and their unexpected good season, which you're going to talk about. Good time for the Penguins to unexpectedly be a positive talking point in the city right now. The Steelers, they're going through a ton of change. The Pittsburgh Pirates, until proving otherwise, are the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Penguins right now was expected to be a down year for them and a dark time for them. They're actually having a really, really good season, and that continued last night. We were live for most of the game yesterday between the Pens and the Kraken. Just a real quick wrap-up of how that game ended. Of course, the Pens, while we were live, in Sidney Crosby's 1400th career game, they got the scoring started from depth to Parker Wotherspoon, an early goal, Connor Dewar, a shorthanded goal that made it 2-0. Ended up being 2-1 heading into the first intermission. We were also live for the second period. The Penguins, again, had a big goal from a defenseman, Brett Kulak, when the game was tied at 2-2. Had a seeing eye shot from the blue line that made it in. That carried us into the third period. This was after we were done being live last night. The Penguins, in the third period, they just pulled away. Justin Brazeau, with a nice wrister from the top of the circles, beat the goaltender. He continues his really unexpected hot offseason. I mean, Brazeau, you're talking about one of the best free agent signings, buy low, reward high signings of last offseason in the NHL. Brazeau, he might be the leader in that department. So Brazeau made it 4-2. Seattle ended up getting another response goal. Ilya Tolvanen for them had a one-timer that made it in, I believe. But then the Pens pulled away. Sidney Crosby, Ricard Raquel, another connection between those guys. Crosby behind the net, backhands it to the other side of the net where the goaltender isn't looking. Raquel, wide open cage. Goalie didn't know the puck where it was until it was already behind him. Connor Dewar, his second of the game, got the empty netter. The final score last night, Penguins 6, Kraken 3. Excellent production, in-depth scoring, too, that the Pens have been looking to get more of. 2 defensemen with a goal. Connor Dewar, the fourth liner, already set a career high in goals. He added 2 more in this one. And the Penguins now, a little over the halfway point of the season here. They have caught the New York Islanders for second place in the division, and they are 3 points clear of the Washington Capitals, who are behind them in fourth place right now. So the Penguins sitting real nice right now with some breathing room near the top of their division. We'll see if they can continue this hot streak moving forward. Penguins, though, besides that game last night, they do have some news on them today. They made a few roster moves. Unikopinen, who is recalled for the beginning of this road trip, he was sent back down to Wilkes-Barre. We were like, all right, what's up with that? Turns out the Penguins made a trade today. They acquired defenseman Ilya Solyov. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that last name. Solovyov. Wonder what sort of ethnicity he's coming from. Very Russian name right now. Solovyov. He comes from the Colorado Avalanche. The Penguins sent a 2026 7th-round pick, so a last-round pick, and forward Valtteri Puustinen, who has not been seen in the NHL in quite some time. That is the exchange going back to Colorado in this deal. So the Penguins, we were wondering, all right, why they send down a forward? That makes sense for that trade to open up a roster spot for Solovyov. But why did they acquire a defenseman? Turns out the Penguins dealing with a little bit more adversity on their blue line today. Erik Karlsson, who is on the trip, he was back out there on the ice today in a regular jersey, but he won't play tomorrow night against the Calgary Flames. Neither probably will Chris Letang. The Penguins coming out 2 hours ago saying that Letang is dealing with an upper body injury. He did not practice today, and he is day-to-day. So just like that, your 2 bread-and-butter defensemen who drive the offense on the power play for your team, they are now both sidelined for the time being with injuries, and both probably will not play tomorrow in Calgary. I mean, maybe this Solovyov was traded for as a insurance guy in case these are longer-term injuries Letang and Karlsson are dealing with. I doubt he's going to be able to, replace these guys in a big capacity here, but hopefully Letang and Karlsson are all right, and this Solovyov will be able to help fill in the crater that they leave in the lineup. Some more from Dan Muse. Said no update in Erik Karlsson. He will still be day-to-day with his injury. Said that Solovyov will meet with the team on their road trip. Maybe that's tomorrow night in Calgary. Maybe that's in Vancouver or Edmonton or wherever the hell else they stop on this road trip. No decision yet either on the goaltender for tomorrow night's matchup. 9:30 too. Start time tomorrow night for the Penguins and the Flames. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the latest surrounding the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. Mostly good news. They keep on getting points and winning. When they lose, at the very least, it's in overtime. Been a while, I think, since they lost in regulation, or at least have lost bad in regulation. But now they got to deal with some defensive woes with Carlson and Letang banged up right now. Hate that. You can maybe live with one of them getting hurt, but both of them with the defense that's currently constructed, that could be a problem. Back to your comments here before we get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news here for the evening. Some more comments there from Truth Thong here. A-Rod wants to stay and wants McCarthy hired. What a effing disaster this would be. Worse than Tomlin staying. Letting players run the team never works. And these players aren't even that good. Very true, Truth. I mean, right now, the players, they cried and complained with Tomlin stepping down, but maybe if you guys would just be a little bit better and have won a playoff game in the last decade, then maybe we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. We would still be talking about, all right, Mike Tomlin back for another year. Let's, might as well start now looking ahead to the draft, seeing if what wide receiver is available. But instead, we're here talking about a coaching search. It falls back on the players here and Tomlin. If they were a little bit better, we wouldn't be doing this right now. But should some players have a little say? Yes. But should they be directing traffic saying, you either hire this guy or I'm not coming back? Then at that point, we say, here are your walking papers, or, waive your no trade clause. We'll have you on the next flight out of Pittsburgh International to wherever, and whatever team wants you there. Cannot have the players making this coaching decision. This needs to come down to Art Rooney and Omar Khan. And out of those two, I would give more trust in the hiring process to Omar Khan than I would Art Rooney, because I still have that sneaky suspicion that he views McCarthy as the Tomlin type who's going to, get this team to 9-8. They make the playoffs, and then who the hell knows what happens after that? Probably a loss, given McCarthy's ending track record there in Dallas. Thomas Dowdy in here. What's up, Thomas? Sorry I'm late to the party. You think McCarthy Rogers is a 1-year stopgap for Marcus Freeman? Ooh, did not think that could be a stopgap, McCarthy. Should have thought of that one. For Marcus Freeman, maybe Freeman another year in Notre Dame, then he'll look at an NFL head coaching gig. If that's the case, though, then why are we, again, delaying the future of this organization? Sure, you had a good year in the draft class of quarterbacks coming up is going to be pretty terrible, but if you suck this upcoming season, it's not going to be the worst thing in the world, because you got a ton of good quarterbacks that are going to be slated to come out of the draft, and I'd much rather, take a chance with a Shula and start the rebuild and building for the future a year early than to just run it back with Rodgers and one of his buddies. I think we've had enough of Rodgers bringing in buddies. Didn't work with Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Didn't work with, bringing in an old rival of his, Adam Thielen. I don't think it's going to work at a much more important component of the organization and a head coach. Just please, let's not go that route. I don't want to go that route, Thomas. McCarthy, he would interest me, being an offensive-minded head coach of this team for once, but beyond that, not sure it's going to turn the wheels forward for this organization into being a long-term Super Bowl contender again. Still feels like a Shula head coach and Shieldhouse for OC. That is the dream right now, Thomas, in my opinion. That is the dream right now, Shula and Shieldhouse, even if Shieldhouse is just here for a year before he finally gets his head coaching gig. At least you get a taste of the McVay offense in Pittsburgh. And hopefully by then, Shieldhouse, 1 year of him, he'll bring along an assistant or something from LA to learn underneath him. And that assistant will then be elevated. Or Shula, he can look out to LA again when Shieldhouse is gone and bring in another coach or passing game coordinator from there. You want to move towards the future, hire a guy like Schuler or Shieldhouse. You want to compete for 1 year and have an outside shot of competing for a Super Bowl, a very, very, very outside shot, which I think is more enticing to Art Rooney than go the McCarthy-Rodgers route. Try to relive 2011. Concepts here. I always claim the next draft class will be better. Then we get there, and they ain't got stuff in it. Well, I mean, looking at this draft class here, it won't take much of an improvement to be better than this year's draft class, because you got Fernando Mendoza and who the hell knows what else. At least next year, you can then start talking about Arch Manning. You can start talking about Lenora Sellers, Dante Moore. Who else went back to school? A few other guys as well. Darian Mensah. So Trinidad Chambliss, whether he comes out in this draft or next draft, those are names right now that you can say are bona fide day one at the latest day two picks in next year's draft. Can't say much of any of that for any quarterback beyond Mendoza this year. Exactly what I'm thinking about. Could be an interim head coach until Pittsburgh gets who they want. Might be Freeman. We'll see. Another year at Notre Dame will give us a new opinion on Marcus Freeman after this year, a year from now. What good word? What's the good word? Concepts. Guys, get greeting concepts on the way in here. In the meantime, while you guys keep some more comments coming in here, gonna get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news of the evening. We'll begin to wrap up the show that way. Back into head coaching searches, by the way. There's one other head coaching gig besides the Steelers, two actually, that we're keeping an eye on, seeing who the Ravens and the Browns take a look at for their head coaching vacancies. One story other than something related to the Steelers today I thought was hilarious. This just an hour ago. Mike McDaniel, former Miami Dolphins head coach, withdrawing his name from the running of the Cleveland Browns head coaching gig. So either the Browns are closing in on a name and McDaniel, seeing the writing on the wall, is not one of them, or he just does not want to go to Cleveland, which if that's the case, I do not blame him whatsoever. Who the hell wants to go to Cleveland? I mean, we talk about the Steelers not being the sexiest of coaching opportunities out there. The Browns, I mean, yikes. You go in there, you got, 2 draft picks to play with, but they're not going to net you a quarterback. I think the Raiders are going to hold on to Mendoza, and then your quarterback is an overrated Shadur Sanders, a Dylan Gabriel with no arm, and still being paid a whole lot more of millions, more than any of us will make in our lifetimes, millions and millions of dollars in Deshaun Watson. So don't blame McDaniels there. Speaking of another guy who will not be coaching, even though people still, I guess, are checking in that he is, Jay Glazer of Fox Sports. He said that 7 NFL teams so far have inquired about Mike Tomlin's coaching status for 2026. We mentioned something yesterday about Rondé Barber saying that Tomlin is done. Tomlin also, he's all about dad life right now. So I think those NFL teams, they can stop their inquiries right there before it goes beyond just a phone call saying, hey, is Mike thinking about coaching? Last 3 things here on the Steelers, extra Steeler news here today. Congratulations to Carson Bruner, Steelers linebacker, was drafted in the 7th round of this past year's draft. He was named PFWA, Pro Football Writers Association, all-rookie team member. I'm sure that is in the special teams category of the team, but hey, nonetheless, very deserving. Bruner, absolute demon on special teams, kind of like Ben Skoranek this year, really stepped up down the stretch and made key tackles in big parts of the games. And I think he's going to be a nice special teams ace and leader for years to come for the Steelers. Hopefully, that does not stop the Steelers' special team successes with the departure of Danny Smith. But Danny Smith, if one of his, if he had, one last thing to hang his hat on here in Pittsburgh, he might have developed the next all-star special teamer for the Steelers in Carson Bruner. One Steeler who could not be returning in 2026, just like Danny Smith, Mark Caboli, Pittsburgh Steelers insider. He throwing, or I guess trying to dash the hopes of the Steelers having their 1-2 punch in the backfield return in 2026. This on Kenneth Gainwell and his chances of coming back to Pittsburgh next year. Quote, he fit perfectly what Arthur Smith wanted to do. So if you're Kenneth Gainwell right now, if Arthur Smith and Tomlin, if everything was still in place, of course, you'd come back. It's not always greener on the other side, right? You're not going to get all that playing time somewhere else. Now, if I'm Kenneth Gainwell, I'm looking where Arthur Smith lands. I'm thinking, hey, Artie, you want me? Then that's number one call. So I put it that it was 100%, I think, or darn close to 100% about 2 weeks ago. Right now, I have to think it's below 50% for him coming back because he has to go where he knows he is going to get used. So Kenny G, all-star for the Steelers, team MVP, elite production out of the backfield and in the passing game. Now, kind of like a handful of other Steelers players on this team, quite frankly. His once guaranteed future with the black and gold, now very, very much a question mark heading into 2026. Last thing here on the Steelers for the day, the Steelers made another future reserve contract signing today. They signed 6'6", 305-pound offensive lineman Lorenzo Thompson to a future contract. Went to college at Rhode Island. Did Thompson, third-year pro. Not sure where he was here. They've also signed defensive back Danico Slaughter to a reserve future contract. So more and more names coming in here to be camp bodies next year at OTAs and training camp for the Steelers. Moving back into the Pittsburgh Penguins for a second, just a few extra things on them. This kind of popped out of nowhere today, but I am not going to complain whatsoever for the Penguins. They just made a trade today for a, bottom pairing defenseman, Ilya Solovyov. But could they make a even bigger splash than that? Honestly, quite one of the biggest trade splashes in a while since the Phil Kessel trade. This would be up there with possible trades the Penguins could make. Apparently, the Penguins interested in Dallas Stars forward Jason Robertson. That's the latest rumor from Josh Yeo, who does beat work on the Penguins. Apparently, Jason Robertson, outstanding forward, left winger for the Stars. I think he is still a top 10 left winger in the NFL. Yesterday, Robertson switching agents amid him looking for a contract extension and a pretty lucrative one from the Dallas Stars. The Stars gave money to just about every other star on their team. Defenseman Thomas Harley, he got a deal. Forward Rupe Hintz, he got a deal. And then they brought in Mikko Rantanen via trade and gave him over $12 million a year. Robertson looking to get his. He switches his agent. Now today, a day later after that agent switch, Josh Yohe says the Penguins have interest in trading for him. Something is up there, and we're going to be sure to keep that in the back of our minds. Robertson looking for a payment, looking to maybe get out of Dallas if they're not going to give him his rightful money. Penguins could slide in and get that deal done, trade for him. They have the money to do so, $55 million in cap space next offseason, and they have the picks to do it, to complete a trade? Will Dubas pull the trigger? We shall see. Just real quick, though, Robertson this year still producing decently. Just want to see what his stat line here is looking like. Robertson, he is 27 goals, 29 assists, 56 points on the season. He is tied for third in goals in the NHL. That is the type of guy that I would give a first-round pick and maybe a little bit more for. 6'3", good size, still young, 26 years old, and continues producing. Get that guy here to Pittsburgh, and you're going to talk about a guy that could help the team now and in the future. Jason Robertson, would love to get that deal done. Might need to maybe trade off a Rickard Rakell or a Brian Rust for him, but if you're going to get rid of those guys, might as well make it for a guy that's, an even better goal scorer than them. So we'll see. If anything, it's probably a long shot, but Robertson to the Penguins, did not conceive that as a possibility before until today. Last few things here on the Penguins. The Penguins, cool. They announced their charity game will be returning on February 26th. That, of course, is always a big night for the Penguins where they sell tons and tons of gift bags for the Mario Lemieux Foundation and the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation. Also, the Penguins announcing that on the 31st of this month, that will be their 2016 Stanley Cup team honor night against the Mike Sullivan-led New York Rangers. The Penguins announcing that they will honor a handful of players not currently with the Penguins that night. Sullivan, of course, with the Rangers, will be recognized. Also, many former players returning: Marc-Andre Fleury, Pascal Dupuis, Patrick Hornquist, Matt Cullen, Carl Hagelin, Ben Lovejoy, Chris Kunitz, and others will be honored. And also former GM Jim. Congratulations to Alex Nedeljkovic for giving us something we have not seen in hockey in 6 years. He getting in a goalie fight last night and holding his own, too, pretty well against Sergei Bobrovsky. Think Ned won the tilt there. Bobrovsky also with a bit of a coward move, ripping off the helmet of Nedeljkovic without ripping off his own goalie mask. But hey, Ned held his own. Good job, Ned. Wrapping up the extra Pittsburgh sports news here for the evening with some Pittsburgh Pirates stuff. Again, another day goes by where there's not much rumors at all surrounding the Pirates and if they're going to be doing anything to add a piece to the team before Pirate Fest here coming up this weekend. There is a few other things going on around the league that could give Pirates fans some hope. According to Chris Cotillo, who covers the Boston Red Sox for MassachusettsLive.com, he said that internally the Red Sox have little traction when it comes to looking at free agent for third baseman Eugenio Suarez. Also, another team that could be in the Suarez market, Dave Dombrowski, GM of the Philadelphia Phillies. He said that the Phillies are quite content with where they are roster and signing another marquee free agent-wise. So that leaves Suarez with not many options other than Pittsburgh. Could he go back to Seattle? Yeah, but kind of like the Red Sox, there hasn't been much traction between Suarez and a return to Seattle. His other team he played for last year, the Arizona Diamondbacks, they traded for Nolan Arenado. Trying to think of what other teams are looking for third baseman. The Chicago Cubs traded for Alex Bregman. The Red Sox, not entirely aggressive in their pursuit of Suarez right now. So maybe something's lining up here for the Buccos to go out and get Suarez. Hopefully they are able to convince him to come here. I'm hoping that that's the big holdup and not anything money related. Also, you had MLB insider Ken Rosenthal of the New York Times chime in on the Pirates and could they be still open to selling from their farm system to bring in a piece to add to their lineup. Rosenthal saying, quote, "They are willing to move additional young talent to upgrade their roster, but they prefer to stay away from moving on from potential 2026 contributors. So the Bucks, they did a good job, I believe, getting Brandon Lau for not all that much prospect-wise. They only sacrificed Mike Burrows in that deal. They still do got a few prospects in the pipeline that are well away from competing in 2026, but are they going to chip off those guys wisely and bring in a true impact bat? I hope that would wind up being the case. Maybe they're looking New York Mets right now. Mark Vientos, who's a third baseman, first baseman for the Mets. The Mets bringing in Jorge Polanco and Bo Bichette to fill those spots in the lineup this season. Could Vientos be up for a middle of the pack prospect? I would look there. Doubt you're going to get Alec Boehm from the Phillies now that he is now that the Phillies are done adding big free agents. So hopefully, still my ideal addition would be Suarez. You don't need to sacrifice anything but money from your organization to get him. But if worse comes to worse, then look for a team that has a good third baseman that's just blocked right now. Vientos would fit that bill. Last thing here related to the Pirates for today, according to Ken Rosenthal, more on his chat from today, he said that the Milwaukee Brewers, they're still looking to listen in on deals for their number one starter, Freddie Peralta. Peralta has been rumored to the Yankees and stuff like that. The Padres now are in on Peralta as well. So the Brewers, they could be selling off a piece here of their rotation, making for a better matchup for the Pirates heading into 2026. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is just about going to wrap things up here for the night. Want to wrap up with your comments here before we log off. Thomas Dowdy here, just as long as the Ravens don't get Shula. I agree. Would hate for Shula or Shieldhouse to go to either the Ravens or the Browns. Just don't take any of our top two guys, because would hate to root against them then. When would we lose his rights? There's something about Tomlin and his rights being up after this next season, but I don't know for sure. Tomlin's right. Tomlin was due for at least this next year on his contract, and then he had an option for 2027. So that contract might run out when this next season, the 2026 season, comes to an end. Still, though, I have my doubts that Tomlin is going to return to coaching at all. It would have to be an opportunity that he just cannot refuse. And right now, looking at all the options out there, there is some bits that you can refuse and pick out in a team. Concepts here again. Carson Bruner shutting up all the people who claim nepotism. Who cares what the name is as long as they can contribute. Had a couple of those guys shutting down any chance of nepotism this year. Bruner did that. Joey Porter Jr. certainly did that. I think Connor Hayward did that a little bit for his contributions on special teams and offense. So maybe hold off a little bit on, cries of nepotism when the Steelers hire or draft someone, bring in someone with family ties to the Steelers, past or present. Thomas here, hold your opinion more highly than most. Your eyes will were spot on with those crappy zebras all year, says Thomas. I think you're talking about concepts a bunch there. I was following along with concepts on the old, what is up with this? What's up with these referees bandwagon? Top 10 got more than all left wingers last 3 seasons. That was before I saw that he, had 27 goals. THP, lay off me here. I knew he was still good, and I thought he was going to get overshadowed a little bit by Mikko Rantanen, and that's maybe why I wasn't paying that much attention to Jason Robertson. But now he's got my attention fully again here, with the Penguins interested in him. Dallas needs to deal him for a really good defender, two-way forward. Early projections of what a trade could look like. Do we have the two-way defenseman? No. I mean, maybe if you look at a Harrison Brunick or one of those prospect defensemen the Penguins have, not sure how interested the Stars would be in that. But, I mean, two-way forward, Brian Rust, Ricard Raquel. Not sure if the Stars have any interest in them, or maybe you look at a Ville Koivunen or Rucker McGroarty as a prospect guy to trade for Robertson, and then add on a pick, second first rounder for Robertson. That could be the skeleton, the bones of a deal. Looking here, some of your other comments. Big roster overhaul is needed. I think we all agree on that part for the Steelers. I mean, might as well, with getting a new head coach, might as well have the head coach sculpt the team roster in his favor. Try not to make a square peg fit in a round hole here. Have the roster in his image here. Seeing some other comments for you guys right here. You know it's crazy. Seattle has all this young talent next season, and we'll have the fourth most cap space to spend. That is crazy. I mean, they don't make the Super Bowl this year. They got the quarterback. They got a number one wide receiver. They got the makings of a great defense. They can throw money at whatever they want to try to help push them over the edge. Seattle is definitely back in a big way. I'm hoping we are not going to say the same about the New England Patriots. They, I think, heading into this last offseason, had the most salary cap space. And look at them. Now they're one win away from the Super Bowl. Maybe the Seahawks could be following in their footsteps. See here, Thomas Dowdy. You know the Penguins are for real because we finally got an Igor player. Igor Chinikov. He has been unbelievable since coming over from Columbus. Not sure what Columbus was thinking, trading away a young piece like that only for a month, or not even a month later, firing the head coach that player was at odds with. Definitely some crazy and confusing choices there by the Blue Jackets. Looking here, it's wild. The next dynasty type of team for the next few years, cream of the crop for the NFC. Yeah, talking about the Seahawks. As long as they got Sam Darnold not seeing ghost, it's going to be really, really tough. Still torn between Rams or Seattle. Be a tough game. Do you want to go with a present or a future? Because presently, still got Stafford playing some MVP level ball, even though he's kind of cooled off recently. In Seattle, they are young and wild, and Darnold's playing some of his best football right now. Definitely will be a close game. Can't say the same so much over in the AFC side of things with Jarrett Stidham at the helm for the Broncos. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is just about going to wrap things up here tonight. One last scroll here through Twitter before we log off here this evening. Again, Penguins coaching search, or the Steelers coaching search, continues to go on. McCarthy, he is the hot name today, and he will interview tomorrow with the Steelers. We'll see if he's able to wow the Steelers in his interview. We'll also see if we hear or get any rumblings of what went down in Brian Flores' interview today. But the head coaching search for the Steelers roll on, and we'll cover any news things that come of it here on this channel in the meantime. We will have a update, by the way, at the end of the week here. For those for you diehards in here, there is an update coming up here at the end of the week of what's down the line for the channel. We got a little bit of a break coming up here for the channel, but still thinking of ways to keep content going during the break. We'll get more into detail in that coming up here on Friday, and I'll reiterate it again here on Monday. So I want to thank you all for joining me here tonight. This was fun. We'll see what goes down here tomorrow, see if we're back here tomorrow night. There won't be too much to talk about from a hockey or baseball perspective because we'll be leading into Penguins and Calgary Flames tomorrow night. That game at 9:30, so it'll be after we would be done live streaming tomorrow, and I'm not holding my breath on the Pittsburgh Pirates doing anything massive over the next 24 hours. So we'll see if we're live tomorrow. We'll see if the Steelers have a big day, coaching search wise, and we'll see if we have anything massive to talk about then. But if nothing's going on, we'll definitely be back here live streaming on Thursday and Friday, of course. But until then, we'll see what happens. For the final time here tonight, for those of you in here on your way out, please hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the channel again. Like this live stream, share this live stream in the comment section. Leave a comment after the fact that I can get back to you. Leave a like, reply to it. We gained 2 new subscribers here tonight, so I appreciate those 2 new beautiful people that did so, up to 715 here on the channel. And yeah, again, please hit that subscribe button, like, share, leave a comment. Also, go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and come back later on tonight for SCSR 60. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your Tuesday night. We'll see if we're back here tomorrow live like this. If not, we will definitely be back here on Thursday. Have a good rest of your Tuesday night. We'll see what the Steelers do. Peace.